Is Korea more open to foreigners than Japan? In fact, this is a very sensitive question. Whenever you put Korea, Japan side by side, and that becomes a very serious historical question.
I've been to many countries in Asia now, and I would have to say Korea and Japan are by far the most similar.
Oh my god, I have missed you, Japan. I have missed you like a long-lost lover.
As Korean, Japan literally had the best rebrand ever in the history.
Not sure how many times I'm gonna have to say it, but J-pop is significantly better than K-pop.
こんにちは。皆さん、ジュキコです。始める前に一つお伝えしたいことがあります。この動画はどの国が優れているかを比べるものではありません。ただ、実際に両方を体験した外国人の素直な感想を共有するものです。なぜなら、どの国にもそれぞれの美しさがあるから、そして時にはその違いこそが一番面白いのです。
Japan and South Korea are two very modern countries in Asia, but there's a lot of differences. Here are three of them. Number one, technology. Of course, South Korea is very innovative, but Japan takes innovation to the next level. Robots are serving you food, toilets are checking your blood pressure, and vending machines are selling anything under the sun.
So if you don't want anyone next to you to hear your pooping sounds or bodily functions, you press this music button and a rainforest sound comes on. Watch.
Number two, music. If Japan beats Korea in technology, then Korea definitely wins in music. Korea is the home of BTS, Blackpink, and all other things K-pop. These K-pop artists are training for years so they can hit the stage with their best dance moves to impress everybody in the country and the world. Seriously, K-pop is madness. Number three, food. Japanese food is very savory, while Korean dishes bring the heat.
ソウルは明るくて若くエネルギッシュ、音楽や光、すべてがとても生きている感じ。それに対して東京はまた違う雰囲気です。賑やかさは控えめで、でもより深みがあります。
Ich bin gerade in Korea und war davor in Japan, und in Japan haben sich die Leute nicht mal zu mir gesetzt in der Bahn oder so. Immer war ein Platz frei, und die haben auch immer riesen Abstand gehalten. In Korea ist es gar nicht so, es juckt die gar nicht. Du wirst hier so behandelt wie Koreaner einfach, außer dass man halt kein Englisch, also kein Koreanisch sprechen kann.
Everyone talks about Japan versus Korea, but no one really tells you how different they feel until you have done both back to back. Japan feels like a machine, clean, quiet, convenient. We lived off vending machines and convenience store ramen. Korea, total opposite. Loud, chaotic, Wi-Fi literally everywhere. And Seoul, best food scene we have ever been. Budget-wise, Japan hit us hard. Fancy cafes? Not happening. But in Busan, we hopped to different cafes and still stayed under budget. In Japan, we clung to 7-Eleven and McDonald's. In Korea, the options spoiled us. Honestly, Korea felt more social, more fun. But Japan gave us calm. The reset was kind of quiet. So if you're wondering which is better, here's the truth. You need both. To love the energy of Korea, you have to feel the stillness of Japan. And to really enjoy the softness of Japan, you need to live a little loud in Korea. Follow for more honest travel swaps, not just the Insta-pretty stuff.
Korean entertainment is definitely better, and Korean people seem to be a bit more international, open-minded, and speak more English. Korean food, good. Japanese food is the best. I might be biased because I've lived in Japan for 3 years, but it's really good. The Korean language is much easier to learn than Japanese. But after only a week here, I really have to dive in, explore more of Korea rather than just spending time in Seoul.
この女性は日本の人混みの管理にとても感心していました。人が多くても秩序が保たれ、押し合いも混乱もありません。
First of all, Japan's crowd control is amazing. Like, they have officers everywhere with lights and stuff. And also the people, since they're super polite, I've never gotten bumped into or like have been pushed in the train. And because in Korea it's pretty common for you to ride the train and these ajumas would literally push you out of the way, or they just bump into you without even saying sorry.
この女性たちは韓国と日本の両方で生活し体験してきました。そしてこれがそれぞれの国で彼女たちが感じたことです。
Should you visit Korea or Japan? Part 1. If you like spicy food, definitely Korea. You're not going to find spicy food anywhere in Japan. If you're traveling solo, definitely Japan. It's really hard to get a table for one in Korea. If you're on a budget, Korea. The hotels are amazing and they're actually affordable, unlike Japan.
Where is safer, South Korea or Japan? In fact, these two countries have one of the lowest crime rates, but there are nuances everywhere. The locals in these countries drink a lot of alcohol, but in Japan, I have never seen a drunk person behaving aggressively. Koreans, on the other hand, behave more boisterously, and there are rare cases of conflicts. It is even rarer, but it does happen that it comes to fights.
In Korea, there are a lot of places where you eat in a group of friends. Like you come with company, and there are actually restaurants that only allow like 2 people, and the portions are just big, you know. So you naturally come with a friend or like with your group of friends or family or something. But I remember there were people that I met who were like kind of shy to eat alone, and there's like a whole thing, oh, you ate alone, is like, you okay, type of thing. I'm sure right now it's changing and there are a lot of cafes and things like that, but I feel like in Japan it's totally opposite. I mean, of course you go with a group of friends, like nomikai. There are a lot of chain restaurants where you can eat alone in Japan.
知りたいですか？どちらの国が観光客にとってよりオープンなのか。それでは彼ら自身の体験からの声を聞いてみましょう。
In Japan war, habe ich die japanische Kultur als sehr respektvoll, ruhig und sehr introvertiert wahrgenommen. Er ist ein bisschen auf sich fokussiert, jeder kümmert sich um sein Zeug, aber zu dir als Tourist sind sie super höflich und sehr respektvoll. In Korea sieht dieser Fakt zum Beispiel ganz anders aus. Also ja, die Koreaner werden sehr oft kein Englisch sprechen können, darauf solltet ihr euch einstellen. Koreaner werden sehr oft als unhöflich wahrgenommen. Sie sehr oft Ausländer sehr, sehr gerne anstarren oder auch manchmal mit Blicken sozusagen deinen Look kommentieren, also manchmal komisch gucken. Und an alle, die sich beschweren, ihr müsst euch vorher mit der Kultur auseinandersetzen, weil ihr kommt in deren Land.
But in some aspect, I think Korea is more open to foreigners in terms of international marriage. And in fact, giving the permanent residency, they have a slightly different policy that they adopt. For example, like a tax that you have to pay to apply for the citizenship. In fact, Japanese tax is like 10 times higher, which means it costs over $3,000 to even apply for the citizenship, which makes it really hard for the foreigners to at least try to get the citizenship. This challenge is like a neck-to-neck comparison, but if I describe this immigration policy and friendliness to foreigners, I think Japan opens the doors very carefully, while Korea leaves the door half open. However,
何人かの人はとても率直に感想を話してくれました。彼らはこう言います。日本の方が自分に合っていると感じると他の国が悪いわけではなく、ここでの体験がより自分に合っているからです。
And it was sort of like a shock. The first thing is that because Japan is so orderly and everyone is so disciplined, right? When you arrive in Korea, you're like, good lord, what a mess. And I lived in China for 4 years, so it reminded me a lot of China. Even the smell of Seoul smells like Beijing, you know, a little bit like the pollution. But the first thing that got me was in the waiting line at the airport when we were waiting to get our passports checked, right? So much plastic surgery. Like 2 out of 3 people had plastic surgery. So I can spot an eyelid surgery, and that's okay, whatever. If you're not comfortable with your ethnicity, well, you do you. But not only that, and the fillers and the Botox and everyone, it was shocking. Honestly, it was kind of like a little bit of a freak show.
First steps on Japanese soil. Oh. Look guys, the board, everything works here. Everything works nicely. There's no ceiling tiles falling off. All the pixels on this screen work. It's not like Iraq or Turkey or India, where everything's kind of shitty, honestly. Everything works here. Everything's nice. It's objectively the best country in the world.
では、日本は女性にとって良い国なのでしょうか?
And I'm like, is there a country that absolutely is not good for a lady? Please, you guys tell me, because some people say yes. But I know any country that has boys or guys in it, then obviously the ladies are supposed to be there. Yes, some people back then used to say, oh, South Korea is not good for a lady. But there are jobs for girls over there, for ladies over there. Same as Japan. Because most people always say, when you hear of Japan, South Korea, you think of hard work. No. It is both, it is balanced. As well as how many men would like to be teachers?
この女性は韓国と日本の歴史にも少し触れていました。でも詳しくは語らず、優しくこう言いました。それは過去の一部。そしてそれぞれの国にはそれぞれの物語があると。
Now everyone thinks that they're a saint, anime, being polite, whatever, but they were straight up fucking evil. Because I can guarantee that almost every country in Asia has at least one story of how Japan did them dirty. For example, Korea, my country, literally got colonized by them for 35 years, and what they did to us was horrific. Not just trying to erase our whole culture, but creating comfort women, which a lot of them are still denying, by the way.
スキンケアといえば日本と韓国どちらもとても有名です。しかし実際に体験すると多くの外国人が気づきます。結果は似ていてもアプローチは全く異なるのです。
Japanese skincare reminds me a lot of French pharmacy. It's very much built around science and prevention. It feels more clinical. Japanese brands mostly design their products to be used consistently every single day for a really long time before launching the next big new product that you must have. Once something works, it stays the same. It becomes an iconic staple for so many people. And that's why to me it often feels like French pharmacy. Korean skincare, in my opinion, comes from a much more different approach. It's more innovation-led and consumer responsive with some very, very good marketing. These brands move extremely quickly. They're very good at listening to customer feedback, and they aren't afraid to experiment with
between the two countries. First up, and this is pretty obvious, if you're looking for skincare products, Korea will definitely be the better option. There's an Olive Young on almost every block, which makes shopping for these products so freaking easy. Plus, if you're looking for specific brands, you will most likely find their flagship store there. For makeup though, I would recommend Japan only because I find that it is a little cheaper. The key is to go to Don Quixote because that is where the deals will, but unlike Olive Young, Don Quixote can get really overstimulating.
もしかしたら比べることは優劣を決めるためではなく違いをより深く理解するためなのかもしれません。あなたはどうですか？どちらの雰囲気が好きですか？賑やかさ、それとも静けさ？ぜひコメントで教えてください。そしていいねとチャンネル登録もお忘れなく。これからもいろいろな体験を一緒に楽しみましょう。